Welcome to Clixed Off, brought to you by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama. Check them out at LuckyDiceCafe.com. And now for your hosts, Daniel Powell, Jason Alvey, Alex Coons, and Tyler Speeds.
Hey everybody, welcome to Clixed Off today. This is your host Daniel Powell speaking. Just want to let everybody know that Clixed Off is brought to you by TrollandToad.com, the world's largest HeroClix retailer. Find HeroClix new and old on TrollandToad.com and use coupon code CLIXEDOFF for 5% off your HeroClix order. Merchant and pre-order items do not apply. If you like what you're hearing today on Clixed Off, patreon.com/ClixedOff. Dollar above gets entered into our monthly giveaways. $5 and above gets entered into our Patreon Discord server channel for HeroClix strategy and tactics discussion. And can confirm here, Troll and Toad does have a shit ton of HeroClix. Got to visit them last Friday, so thanks to those guys for letting me come out and visit and tour and all that other stuff. So. Joining me tonight is Jason Pulpadog Do Alvey.
What the hell was that?
You're more excited for Pulp, you said.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't get the pulp out of it. I couldn't hear what you said exactly.
Oh yeah, Jason Pulpadog Do Alvey.
Yeah, very excited for Pulp.
And then also joining me is Alex, 1 week before Nats, and still does not have his Nats team in hand. Coos.
I mean, I don't think I ever have my Nats team in hand, because it's like I borrow. So
you don't even know what you're playing. You don't know. You haven't decided what you're playing.
I know what I'm playing. It's more of like the fine tuning it. But hey, while you were there at Troll and Toad, did you suggest to them that they try the Troll and Toad? We've got a shitload of HeroClix as their slogan, because that might not be a bad one for a sale of some sort.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, no, they were running a little bit low on inventory, so they had all of the cardboard boxes. I mean, I posted pictures on Facebook.com/ClixedOff, and they had drawers for everything, and all of the sets were out there, and super well organized. But they were running low on some stuff. They said I did check and was able to take pictures and stuff, and they our guy said that Gen Con is their big buy for the year.
Ooh, I like the sounds of that as someone who likes to sell at Gen Con.
Right. He says that they buy in excess of 6 figures of stuff. Not just HeroClix, but they buy in excess of 6 figures of stuff at Gen Con every year.
Now, did they say that before or after you dropped off all the stuff you were going to sell? Like, they didn't say, well, usually Gen Con is our big buying season.
No, I only dropped off like $700 worth of stuff, so...
Okay.
I bet a lot of it's magic, though, probably.
So the other thing that I thought was really interesting was the pallets. We're talking about 4 to 4.5 foot tall pallets full of bulk card game cards. And there was probably 30 to 50 pallets of stuff. I mean, I didn't count them, so don't quote me. But it was...
Heard to hear, folks.
It was crazy. Like, we think HeroClix bulk is insane. Card game bulk is crazier.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to think... as large as HeroClix is, it is gatekept by the fact that it is a miniature game. And it costs more than, say, just getting cards. You could buy cards easier to ship. People buy boxes of cards and one... Whereas, we buy a brick or a case, where, 100 figures in a case, right? But you buy a box of cards, I mean, I think it's a lot more than 100. So
Yeah.
it would make sense that you've got a bunch of bulk cards. Probably a ton of Pokemon if I were to get wager. And Magic, but
Right.
yeah, I'm excited to sell at Gen Con. I'm excited to. It's good to hear that that's what they're anticipating. Because man, do I have quite a few things that I want to swing by and sell their way to help pay for. Because last year I did the same thing, and if you're debating about going to Gen Con like next year, I kind of financed my trip or most of my trip just by dropping stuff off at Troll and Toad while I was there, because I just saved money instead of trying to ship it.
Right.
So I mean, definitely worthwhile if you've got some of those super rares. Definitely look at the buy list if you can ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Print that off. That way you know, hey, here's the pieces I know I'm expecting. Because if you come in with the buy list, the
best thing to do is to be able to fill out your buy list before you go, and then fill out your buy list before you go and bring that with you. Now their buy list changes, as they go throughout the event. So it's best to bring your stuff there immediately for them. But
Thursday. Thursday was the earliest that they'd be open.
That's right. You got it.
But yeah, definitely if you're thinking about selling, if you're going to Gen Con, you're going to bring stuff like I did it last year. The buy list makes things so much faster. Mm-hmm. You go there, you drop the buy list, and they're like, oh, okay. And they like recognize it, and they kind of briefly go through it depending on the figures, and then they kind of go on their way. It makes things so much faster. You're not one of those awkward people that sits there with a big old bucket and like they're having to go manually price everything. It just makes things so much easier for them and so much easier for you, because they're more likely to just kind of go through it like just, okay, this looks good.
Yeah.
As opposed to like looking at every single thing you've got. Not saying you should do that to like cheat something through, but more of like it's just so much faster.
That's right. Yeah. Be organized, have it in baggies, be ready to rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
So our last show we left off with
anger, some frustration.
Anger. Yes, all of those
pain.
Words. And so we did get some changes since last time. Notably, Design-A-Figure is back.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Thank goodness. Yeah. Rip headphone users.
Wake up. We got the Design-A-Figure back.
Wake up.
That was a victory.
That was a victory. Yeah. Oh man, if you're not winning though, all the other pricing is still a little bit less than last year, but I feel like I'm not going to complain anymore about it. Maybe I should. I don't know. What do you think, Jason? Should we complain about it some more, or should we?
No comment.
No comment? Why? That you could say no or yes. There's not a no comment. Is not a question, not a viable answer for that.
No comment.
Oh my gosh. I think it should be a little bit better. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, I'll go out on a limb and agree with you. It should be better than what they have out there, because the winner gets a ton. And this is kind of, I've always felt like a thing in HeroClix in general. Like, I know Rock does it too, because Howard's a big believer in it. It's like the winner always feels a little top heavy, where it's just like the winner gets so much, and it's like, well, I mean, it should really be 1 and 2 get, like, 1 gets the most, second should be not that far off of it, because really your finals game can just come down to luck. Like, you worked all the way to get there, and it's just your dice go cold. You have the best strategy, but for whatever reason your dice just don't hit. It's like, that sucks. So that kind of mitigates the luck a little bit, but
maybe it should be equal minus the Design-A-Figures.
Yeah, I mean, throw in one of those bricks of Wheel of Vengeance. Throw that to one of the finalists. That wouldn't be bad either. I mean, but you know what? It is what it is. They did a good job of not just adding a Design-A-Figure. They heard our cries of, hey, we're fine with some sealed stuff too. Like, where's everything else? Because remember, it was just Avengers Forever. They even took that off.
It's
Like,
completely gone now.
yeah, it's completely gone.
Get out of here! Get out of here!
I think yeah.
I mean,
So
I think somebody would have been happy to get that along with other things. They didn't have to totally remove it, but
well, they could move it to like Pulp or something. That'd be nice because Pulp was a little lacking for a bit too. Because almost everybody. Oh, and that's the other change is they also heard us complain about Pulp being at the same time as the cut.
To me, the big thing was, your teams is your more casually minded event, right? Like it attracts cast a wider net, and Pulp was the same time. I know we didn't bring that up on the show, but I thought about that afterwards.
Oh yeah,
we did. We did. Okay,
no.
we did. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
we totally did because we were talking about like this stinks that we have to decide basically on which one we were gonna do.
Yeah, but I don't think we said more casually minded, did we? I don't remember.
No, I don't think we used those words. We just said that it was at the same time.
Yeah. I know we mentioned it was at the same time. I get that, but I was thinking more. The words "casually minded" was what was on my brain later on after the show. But at any rate, there is an event on Thursday. I'm still, maybe it's one of those. I don't want this to come down to be like, well, you're never going to make everybody happy.
No, you're not.
Because you're not. But at the end of the day, I am still a little miffed that on Saturday the Theme World Championship is on the same time as singles. It would be nice if that was moved to Thursday as well. Like you could choose Pulp or Theme. Now, I do fully realize that everybody's going to say, well, I'm going to do Pulp. Fine. You know what? If there's a 10-person themed World Championship, or if there's a 1-person themed World Championship and I win it, that's fine.
I mean, I think the problem is that there's going to be. I think the problem is that these two events have replaced events we weren't interested in, like the soldier, toy, whatever it was before. Like it's replaced those type of events that I don't think saw a ton of people play. But they had a part.
They usually have pretty good turnout. We just don't notice it because it's right in the middle of all the other stuff we're doing.
Right, but for someone coming to WizKids Worlds and they're like, I'm coming Friday, Saturday, or staying Sunday, whatever, and it's like, okay, I play in Team Worlds, I want to play on Saturday, I want to play something else. It's like, well, it makes sense there needs to be something. Like there has to be something else for them to do outside of just BRs. You can only play so many BRs, and the story, and a lot of people are probably tired of the Exosword story event. So it's I'm fine with it. Like
I'm glad they moved it. Pulp is the hottest is the hot new format. So
yes.
I'm super glad. I was really thinking about not playing teams just to play Pulp.
Oh my gosh, Jason! Don't make me question your dedication to Team Worlds. Is your dedication to Team Worlds there now?
I don't have to have dedication to either one now because I can do both.
I know that's what I'm saying. But are you ready to go for Team Worlds? Alex and I need you.
Well, now we don't have a conflict, so yes.
Good. Yeah, in case y'all are wondering,
I'm not going to choose playing BRs over playing Team Seals with you, if that's what you're asking.
Oh my gosh, I know. We need to win. Now, keep in mind, we still wish that Team World Champions got to design their figures justice for Az, Tony, and TJ. But
yeah, but it's a pipe dream at this point, fellas. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's much
Unfortunately.
else. Yeah, I don't think there's much else we can do. So, I mean, So, hold on now. That makes me more question. What's the Pulp World Championship? So, top 8. Participation, you get Old Man Logan. Jason, do you remember when I won that Old Man Logan in 2016 at the question and answer session?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was
Theme gets Old Man Logan.
No, Theme.
Pulp.
Okay. Pulp gets
Isaac.
Nice. A bagged LE. He's not even Pulp legal. Then you get Batman and Jarl, Old Man Hawkeye, Captain
Hey,
America.
what if they give us a legacy card of Isaac? That's what I swear. Why is
Well,
WizKids not
legacy cards
doing
are
that?
legal.
So
I know,
you know.
but why don't they? If they have all this extra old stuff, why are they not like, hey, you know what? We can instantly make this old stuff desirable by
So-
printing a card for it.
So I will say I have seen Kenny post on Facebook that he left that direct suggestion to them while he was employed. He said that on Facebook.
Yeah, it's instant. Like, oh crap, we don't have enough for Worlds. What are we gonna do? Hey, let's make some world exclusive or whatever, con exclusive legacy cards, and let's have the figures there as prizing as well. So you got these old man, whatever, the Superman, Wonder Woman, that old LE. It's like, let's make a legacy card of that. Perfect. We just got print cards, do it as a con LE, and give the figure, and bam, it's like people will desire that.
Yeah.
Instant.
So
Don't have to worry about printing new things, but
yes. So when you go through the pulp prizing, you get Captain America on the Pegasus and a Wonder Woman Generation 3-pack, and
which both are good. We finally got to see the rest of the Wonder Woman generations, and we'll talk about it some other time. But they all are actually really good. Like, and the Captain America was good to begin with. I believe that he's the one that like gets through stop clicks or something, or no defensive.
or
defense.
something, and
No
then
defense
he
powers.
grants abilities too, right? Like, does he grant charge like the Sentry does or something?
Yeah, he does something that I remember seeing. I'm like, man, I wish it wasn't at Worlds, but I can't wait to like get him because he seemed like a really good figure.
And Theme World champion gets 3 bricks as prizing. So 2. Oh no, sorry. They get the Theme World Championship because an Exoswords factory set and then a Notorious brick.
Yeah, so it's definitely off. It's definitely skewed in one direction because Pulp gets 2 Batman Team Up booster bricks, and then a Notorious booster brick, and then Theme World gets 2 Exoswords OP factory sets.
That doesn't make sense. I think 2 is a typo, but
yeah, that's what I'm wondering. That something doesn't make sense to just be like, here's 2 OP factory sets for the lesser of the 2 championships everyone's pumped about.
No, it's not.
Like, it would make sense if
It's obviously not lesser, Alex. If there's better prizing, Theme World Championship. Theme World Championship is OP.
Well, it would make more sense if they just split it up and said, here's 1 OP factory for Pulp, here's 1 for Theme, here's 1 Batman Team Up booster for Pulp, here's 1 for Theme, and then you each get a Notorious brick. Like, give the same prizing.
Right.
Who cares?
I get that.
Like,
yeah.
So I hope they fix that, because it should be the same pricing with 2 for each. There's zero reason they can't just backspace and just swap, add 1 to each.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then the World Championship, you get the Exoswords OP factory set now.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so what was the other thing I wanted to look at real quick while we were here?
Team Worlds?
Team Worlds, yes. Team Worlds is actually pretty stacked. I mean, top 16, you get a Master Mold, the SPDR, the Duck, and, some other stuff. So you basically, by getting top 16, you can get your money back.
Yeah. And they do not say for teams that these are cumulative. They don't say that for the other ones either.
I'm sure they will be, surely.
Who knows if they've got enough of those out there.
Yeah, I guess. Finalist team gets the Empire Factory... Fantastic Four Empire, always said that was set wrong. And then Exoswords OP Factory sets. Apparently they got plenty of Exoswords factory sets.
Yeah, OP factory sets, which aren't bad because you get the... I assume you get the APOC and Genesis.
You do. I mean, that's what Howard had for Alabama. And
now, it's the question of the cards. Did you get the tarot or no?
We got the tarot, but it was just the OP cards. The Exoswords factory set came with all of the tarots, the non-OP.
But that's
OP.
That's okay.
That's fine. It was totally fine. I'm covered back up in tarot cards again to sell and stuff, and I've been trading and selling those off. So definitely not complaining about any of that.
You got that. You got the star in OP. That's the.
I did, but yeah, it comes with it. I didn't personally get it, but yeah, it was there.
That's the Dan inflated tarot card. If you're looking for one that's worth money,
that's the card that you should just be playing because it's really freaking good.
It's ridiculously useful.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And by Dan inflated, if you mean I asked the question about the star, then yes, that is also.
It's all your fault. No other reason. That's it.
Yeah, no, none at all. So, all right. There was one question we got about Worlds from Lamar.
It's pricing.
Yes, from Lamar. So let me find it real quick. I want to just say it exactly here, Lamar. Is there an alternative top prize that would be acceptable if WizKids ever does do any Is there an alternative top prize that would be acceptable if WizKids ever does do away with design a figure? So no. Yeah, I agree.
No.
Yeah, Jason, I agree. A perfect answer. No.
What if? Now,
No.
see, this one is tailored to Dan, so maybe not. Like, I was thinking, like, what if they're like, and the top winner gets to have lunch with Justin, and like you have to get to have a special one-on-one lunch with Zirin.
So I'll say this, right? And
No.
Maybe this. The short answer is no. And
Dan specific. That's what I meant.
But I tell you, no. Here's the thing: is I've said this before, right? My 2 Rock World Championships. The money was spent instantly. Nobody, because I'm not going to be able to sign a check or talk about how cool the check was with anybody, right? Y'all don't care that I won 4K twice. You don't get any of that money. What you do get to do is you do get to play on the Powell Family Farm, Mr. Chomp Swamp. Those are things that I can sign. Those are things that I can talk about people with. How did I design it? What was going through my mind. The things that you can share when you do that. And it was WizKids' legal game element. That's what was so cool about winning the Rock World Championship. Now, was 4K cool? Yeah, obviously, duh. But being able to say, hey, can you sign the, as it's affectionately become known, can you sign the boobies on the Powell Family Farm? It's the 2 grain bins. So, yeah, I'll be glad to sign your boobies on the farm. So, the short answer is no. The long answer is no.
Now, to pivot off of that, is there, if it's not design a figure, is there any other design of things that would be like?
No.
Okay, because you said it has to be something in the game. So it's like,
no.
Is it only a figure?
I haven't got to do design a figure yet, right? So that's still the goal. That's still on my checklist, as it is on a lot of people's checklist, as it'll be on 100 and some players' checklist here in September. I've got to do the legacy card. I still haven't got to do the Pog. I got to do the map. No. I mean, design a figure. You get to pick the sculpt. You get to pick the character. You get to pick the dial, design the dial with the design team, and that's the goal. That's what you want. You want your name on the game card.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I agree.
Yeah.
I just don't think anything else is acceptable. Now maybe they'll come up with something that wows us, but like maybe something we just haven't thought of. Like I'll give them that, right? Like maybe there's something we haven't thought of that'd be super cool. Like,
what about for teams? Because now I'm thinking, okay, don't touch design a figure. Is there an alternative for teams?
No,
because design a figure is not going to come back. No, I'm saying like no. I'm not saying as opposed to them doing a design a fig. If they're saying no design a fig for teams, what would be an alternative that maybe not meet it, but be like, oh well, it's at least better than just raw pricing.
Legacy cards.
Legacy cards. 3 legacy cards.
3. Yeah, there you go.
What about, this is a odd thing, and I have a card in front of me, so that's why I'm thinking about it. One thing they haven't done yet because it's a new mechanic. What about design a terrain? So it's like design a map. this isn't necessarily for Worlds or anything. I'm just thinking in general as a prize. Where, like, because you got the pool of lava. You've got I call it the love bush, but whatever it's called. Heart-shaped bush.
Heart-shaped herb. Yeah.
Or, yeah, whatever, the love bush.
That just makes me giggle every time.
But like, it's like, hey, you get to design it. We could put like it's not like, it's kind of like you're designing a map essentially, but it's like just a terrain you can use in there. Like, I feel like that would be a decent prize for something. To just be like, hey, you get to help design one. I'm just spitballing random ideas for all the millions of all the WizKids employees that listen for us for advice.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's just something
like a special terrain with an effect. Like
yeah, exactly. Like the pool of lava. Like you get to do an effect with it.
Will they print the Team Worlds winners' names on the card of the effect?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's
because the pool of lava has plenty of room on there, and the back is just literally lava. Like, it looks like spaghetti.
I mean, I would say this to folks that listen. It really does sound like it's an ego thing. I guess to some folks it might sound that way, but it really is celebrating these folks that have did the effort, climbed the mountain, did the work, put in the effort, made the dice rolls, championed these events, right? It's recognizing those players that are at the top of their game, for these events, and that's where it all comes from. So
yeah, it's for all the people that played Carnage Silver Surfer. Exactly. I was trying to transition into our next topic.
It was good. I didn't quite get that one, but yeah.
I was transitioning to what teams we're gonna see and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Let's just make it more awkward. I love it. You want to say anything else awkward like Petunia?
Love Bush.
Love Bush. So
looks like a good name for a band.
Yeah.
Well, Bush is a band, but
I know, I'm well aware that Bush is a band. It's not Love Bush.
True.
Gosh.
There might be a cover band of Bush. It's called Bush.
So, I tell you what. Let's talk about states. So I finished playing in my 4th state championship on Sunday with my best placement of 2nd. So first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for watching all the streams and commenting and interacting with all of our stream stuff. So appreciate all of y'all. And what are I think if I could encapsulate my thoughts going into Nats and Worlds, or Nats here next week, into one word, it's not one word, 2 words: precision and analysis.
Oh, that's not where I thought you were going.
No, I don't think the 2 words are Prime Spider-Man.
I thought that's where you were going.
Oh no, I tell you what though, I tell you what, as a funny story on that one, I was coming home from Indy, and I was on the phone with Theo, and Theo was like, "Dad, can you get me a Spider-Man toy?" And I was like, "Son, I really don't want to get you a Spider-Man toy right now, buddy. Dad, I want a Spider-Man toy." And I'm like, "Buddy, I really don't want to see Spider-Man right now." So it was like 5 rounds in the top 8, so I think I played 5 Prime Spider-Man in Indy on Sunday. Let's see, I played Brody twice, Denny, and then Cameron, and then Brandon. Brandon from Northern Indiana. Yeah, I played 5 Prime Spider-Man on Sunday.
Ooh.
Nope.
That's insane.
Nope. Was it 6? It may have been 6.
Well, I mean,
despite
that,
did I think Devin played Prime Spider-Man 2. I may have played 6 Prime Spider-Man on Sunday.
Yeah, he kind of came. I won't say he came out of nowhere, but sort of. Like, I don't feel like we were talking about Prime Spider-Man much.
We weren't talking about him
beginning.
enough. we weren't talking about him enough. I feel like that away. But I mean, obviously Jackson's done well with him in the broadcast events. We all ranked him high in our Simba analysis. But the first round of states, did not do well with him. But then all of a sudden in Indy, in Indiana states, there was 20 of us, and there was ones I didn't play against. There was probably 10 of the 20 teams had Prime Spider-Man on them.
Yeah. But this weekend was supposed to be, I think this weekend was the biggest states weekend, if I remember correctly.
Right.
I think it had the most states tournaments, and it wasn't just Indiana. Like, you could look at did Isaac's team have it, or was he going more Sky Tyrant? He had the Phoenix Sky Tyrant stuff, right?
No, yeah, so Isaac won New Jersey with Switch, Saki, Surfer, Venom, Magneto, and Magic Jaspers.
Gotcha.
And then I'm just looking through here. Oregon was won by Prime Spider-Man. And then I'm just looking. Texas wasn't, because that was Caleb Reddick with his Defend Bubble. Georgia was won by... I'm just going through here real quick just to kind of... Let's just start here, and then let me go through some of these results, and then we'll come back around. Georgia was won by Forrest Paul, one of our newest patrons, with Surfers and Sky Tyrant, and good stuff there. Connecticut was won by Larry Plano with Surfer, King, Killmonger, APOC, Genesis. So almost a monster team, but he chose to use Faust instead. Virginia was won by Switch, Black Skull, Carnage Surfers, Venom, Magneto, Mephisto, Carnage.
Sounds familiar, okay.
Zane Gates. Yeah, it's very close to Saul's team. And then Kentucky was won by our good friend Jay Major with the Surfers, the X-Men team. Hey, Jason. Do 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 do. Don't you remember the X-Men episode? It was like season 5, episode 2, where they had 2 Silver Surfers, or Wonder Woman, 2 APOCs, and a Genesis on the all flying in the Blackbird.
I don't remember that episode, man.
It was shown at San Diego Comic-Con for the upcoming revival of that show.
Right.
They got the crossover.
Patrick won California with Blackheart and World's Finest, Wonder Woman, Kid Stain, MOE stuff. Massachusetts, Scarlet Witch, Saki, Surfer by Isaac. And almost getting there. Just looking through a couple of them. Victoria, which I guess is Australia. Surfer, MOE, APOC, Genesis, Carnage. Michigan was won by Alex's favorite team of Rob Olger, the Critmas team. The Make You Miss team.
Did you say it was my favorite, or did you say someone else's favorite?
It was your favorite because it has Merlin on it.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't like the team for the don't miss parts. I do like it for Merlin, yes.
Yes. And then Nathan Funemeyer won Alabama with the Iron Hammer and MOE. Lots of MOE here, right? Ontario was won by Mike White with MOE. And X-Men MOE, X-Swap MOE, but in a different... I don't see a Sky Tyrant here. Hound, he was playing double MOE chases instead of Sky Tyrant, I think. Arkansas was won by Vincent with Surfers. Another X-Men accurate theme team, maybe? Nope, he had a Mad Jim. It was almost X-Men. That time that the X-Men brought a street level crook in. So, all right, I think that's about it. That we've covered quite a few, but I was hoping to see where Saul's team was. Yeah, here's it's by date, so that's what it was. So Saul, the world champ, was playing Scarlet Witch, Sakarian Iron Man, Mad Jim Jaspers, Felix Faust, and Marvella with MOE. So, maybe a very good look into what Saul is planning on playing for Worlds. Saul also won Monterey, I think. No, that was Richie. Saul, his brother, Saul got second place there with Surfers and MOE. So good looking what the champ is planning on playing for Worlds, perhaps.
Yeah, let's also give a shout out the fact that we've got major tournaments playing in like Australia and Mexico and obviously Canada and Taiwan
and Cebu, wherever.
Yes, Cebu. Yeah,
Cebu. I don't know where that's at. I think it's the Philippines.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I don't remember the last time I heard of HeroClix being played in Australia.
Well, it hasn't been. It has been. It's just usually pretty small group of fellas or players out there.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
But shout out to Manila in the Philippines. Kennard winning with Carnage Thor. Yeet yeet. I said Carnage Thor was good.
Here comes that hidden Carnage Thor tech we weren't expecting.
Right. Lots of good stuff being played over states. But I mean, obviously, Surfer, MOE, and I would have probably not have said Prime Spider-Man, in such earnest because there was one of our Peter Melton won Washington. So Prime Spider-Man won Oregon, Washington, Indiana, for being the most offensive Prime of them out there, right? Because he's more offensive than Prime Wonder Woman, right? Is any of the other ones? Are we all thinking that Prime Spider-Man is the most offensive Prime?
Yeah, I would say so.
Hulk being a second offensive one, maybe.
Yeah, it's hard because you got Gladdy Daddy, who's still.
I'm telling you, he puts out way more than anybody else.
Yeah, he does.
Sure, it's very reminiscent of.
And that's just not in the bedroom.
Yeah, he's very reminiscent of the other Spider one from Doppelganger. Remember, Doppelganger was kind of not the exact same, but one of those he comes across and he just flurries, and then if he hits, he can charge it again and target people he hasn't hit before. So it's kind of a similar concept of here's a rampaging spider person. That's a Prime.
Is Prime Spider-Man, Jason, is that actually Peter or is that somebody else?
It's Peter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I did want to spend a couple of minutes on Prime Spider-Man talking about some of the things that I learned at State Championship about Prime Spider-Man. I'm pulling him up in units right now, which means I cannot just type in Prime Spider-Man.
Yeah, so I'll read his card real quick to remind people of Prime Spider-Man. He's got the Web Crawler trait, which gives him leap climb, free...
Wall Crawler.
Wall Crawler, thank you. Leap climb, free, places character in a square of different elevation within 4 squares in line of fire. And then the big ticket item is the Subconscious Crime Fighting. It's a trait free. If Spider-Man has 2 action tokens, give him a costed action as free. If you did, after resolutions, deal Spider-Man 1 unavoidable damage. And then he has a damage power that's Charge, Flurry, Sidestep. And he has that special power, the special movement power on top click at 80. He does not have it on top click at 50.
Yeah, we're not talking about Prime Spider-Man at 50.
Right.
Yeah, we're playing him at 80.
Yeah, we're playing him at 80. You're putting a Necro Sword on him. He's 95 points.
Yep.
Oh, he does have a special defense power, Super Senses, Impervious, Protected Outwit.
Yeah, that's a huge one. So let's talk about a few of the things here. So, Wall Crawler, right, that's super mobile, right? I think on one of my streams for the broadcast, Eric Adams showed me how he has full map reach with a Venom Magneto on a 24 square map, which I think is still super important. That's note number 1. Wall Crawler helps you have full map reach on a 24 square map. Keep that in mind. When you build your team, 24 square map exists up until Worlds. Make sure that you're prepared for it.
Real quick, another very important part about Spider-Man, his keywords are Avengers, Spider-Man family, symbiote, reporter, and scientist. So those first three are kind of the biggies.
Yeah. Agreed. So that's the big thing, right? His mobility is huge. Leap climb being a passive ability was a big buff to leap climb. So there's pretty much nothing stopping Spider-Man other than blocking terrain. But speaking of blocking terrain, second point of Spider-Man to y'all to think about is super strength. Considering he has sidestep and charge flurry in the same trait, Brody did this to me in our game, which I was not prepared for. I had my Sky Tyrant setting next to my King Killmonger, thinking, oh, it's perfect. He's just going to set right there and be fine. Well, Brody sidestep, picked up an elevated terrain, charged, dropped the elevated terrain under King Killmonger and the Iron Inquisitor.
Nice.
And separated Sky Tyrant from those figures. So, yeah, it was not great. But it is what it is. I won, so that was the big difference, right? I do want to touch on this in a minute. It was theme on theme. Brody got to go first. And it was pretty much, there was 300 to 15 in that game the way it ended. I met Brody in top 4. I won map, got to go first. It was 300 to 0 the other way around. So going first with Prime Spider-Man or against Prime Spider-Man is a big deal. So that was my note on super strength. Anything else y'all want to bring up? I've got a note on each one of these guys as I'm going through each one of his slots. Do y'all have any?
Just the... No, I have something about Spider-Man in general, but go ahead.
Okay. Defensibility. Right. Super senses, 4 through 6, he has Spider-Man TA, impervious, protected outwit. So first of all, 4 through 6 senses, huge, 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 especially with Star out. But you got to play Star. He plays Star. It's all good. Star, Star, Star. So it can become a 1, 4, 5, 6, depending on the turn. But impervious, protected outwit. So it'd be nice if that Prowl wasn't protected outwit. Be way better, or way way better to fight him. Way worse on him.
Well, yeah.
So that means I think almost every team going into Nats needs a Necro Sword.
Or a power racer.
Or a power race. Yeah, that's fine too, right? But at the end of the day, Spider-Man can roll out. And you've got to have penetrating damage in a Necro Sword or a Power Eraser.
I didn't get that.
Oh,
Could you try again?
All right, thank you, Siri. So that defense ability is really huge.
Yeah, worst case scenario, if you just can't fit that on your build, just make sure you have Precision Strike. He still has a decent chance of rolling out, but you're at least dealing him 1, and that at least gets him off of the charge flurry, unless he finds a way to heal.
You mean like if he's paired with MOE chases?
With MOE? Mm-hmm.
Sure, but the event that's not the case. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you... Precision Strike is still better than nothing.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, well, so keep in mind, Necro Sword or Power Eraser. I think beyond Prime Spider-Man, I'm using corollaries here with each of the Prime Spider-Man abilities to talk about what you need on your team as you're thinking about going into Nats or Worlds here. Power Eraser, Necro Sword, must have.
It depends on your team, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're playing the Merlin crit miss team, maybe not, but it is.
Yeah, I mean, the only team I would think, like, I guess you could equip it on Carnage Silver Surfer, so that's probably fine. I was thinking more of, like, if you're playing a Switch, Saki type build without Carnage Silver Surfer, it's like, well, I don't know if I want to equip Saki with Necro Sword, because that kind of you really need the sidestep to keep him jazzed that first turn. Because if you don't have that, Spidey's coming over just to wallop you if you're not prepped for that. So it really depends on the team, but most teams should try to fit it on there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. So
he is.
You know, the subconscious crime fighting trait. You know, people that can pace that correctly, especially when he's paired with MOE. Keep in mind, when we say paired with MOE, that's 80 points. It's the chase and the ultra chase. He can certainly, once he gets into position, power flurry you, free flurry you. He can also charge, flurry you, and then use an object attack on you. So getting 3 attacks out of him every turn is not inconceivable, especially if you turn 1, move him, turn 2, give him a second action token, attack, free attack, take the damage, MOE heal, take off a token, do it all over again, MOE heal, take off a token, do it all over again. That should be pretty much all their team gone.
You know, I don't feel like we went into this much detail with Carnage Silver Surfer, so I mean,
That's because Carnage Silver Surfer is pretty straightforward.
I mean, we're breaking down every single trait of power on this guy. It feels like to go on out and counter him, which is fine.
Well, I mean, Carnage Silver Surfer is a lot easier to counter. You just attack him.
And then he gets healed and goes to top click. And
literally, Carnage Silver Surfer has less things going on than Prime Spider-Man.
I don't know if I agree with that, but
and then Carnage Silver Surfer can't attack as much as Prime Spider-Man.
1 less attack, right? Or 2, I guess, if he's doing the flurry. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be
It's
half
the
as many. Half as many. And Carnage Silver Surfers is dependent on his hypersonic, which in a case where you play the meme team of PJs with 5 scarabs and the commissioner, if Carnage Silver Surfer's thing is outwitted, he's only attacking once. If you outwit Prime Spider-Man, he can still attack once, maybe twice a turn, with no powers, or even in a room, he can still attack twice.
Let's not try to pretend though that Prime Spider-Man is like so much better than Carnage Silver Surfer though.
I think Carnage Silver Surfer has been knocked down a peg or two, to be honest.
We just went through all the states of all the Carnage Silver Surfers.
That was earlier states. He hasn't won many states this month. Prime Spider-Man's won more states the past 2 weeks than Surfer has. And you just said it was the biggest amount of states.
Okay. I mean, I see. I mean, I could go through them again, but right now I'm up to 3 Carnage Silver Surfers, 2 Prime Spider-Man teams, 4 Carnage Surfer teams to 2 Prime Spider-Man teams. 5, because J1, Kentucky, Virginia, Connecticut, like Oregon, New Jersey, like there's Carnage Silver Surfer won a lot more this weekend than Prime Silver. Prime, because you're thinking also of the bajillion you saw in Indiana, because a lot of them were in Indiana. Not to say they weren't in other places.
So
I just want to make sure we are not downplaying Carnage Silver Surfer.
We're definitely not downplaying Carnage Silver Surfer. He's a lot easier to counter as well. But I would like to point out something very.
He's still very good, and you get 2 for the price of Spider-Man.
That's right. But I would like to point out something obvious here, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Gen Con physically located?
Indiana. Wow.
Yeah. Where did I just face? Where was there just 10 Prime Spider-Man teams?
Sure.
So,
but this goes to actually one of our questions. which would be good to bring up.
Yep.
Which was Paul Cote's question, I believe, is what 5 teams are most important to practice against, aka the gauntlet to prep for Worlds and Nats. Obviously, I feel like Prime Spidey and the Carnage Silver Surfer Scarlet Witch Saki team, those are kind of the top 2.
Well, no, so I think the gauntlet is Prime Spider-Man unthemed, X-Men.
Unthemed? Oh, you mean unthemed as in with MOE?
Yeah, Prime Spider-Man with MOE. X-Men. That means monsters. That's all of it.
Sky Tyrant plus Dark Phoenix times 2.
Yeah,
or Carnage Silver Surfer with blades equipped and 2 Apocalypses.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
To be clear, Jason, Sky Tyrant with double Dark Phoenixes has not won anything. So.
Yes, it did.
Not with double Dark Phoenixes.
It won Ohio, didn't Jalen have 2 Dark Phoenixes?
That was true. That was 1 of 50.
And you literally just played it.
I know, and I didn't win. So what does that tell you?
Well, okay, that's just like saying that guy on, what was it, HeroClix Players, that's like, why is everyone talking about Scarab? He didn't win anything.
Hey, you know what? I'm just catering to the masses here, right? Just
as if PJ didn't play 4 of them and got second. 5 of them and got second.
He got 3rd.
Oh, well, okay, fine. Came close. It's just funny. But yes, gauntlet-wise, out of the 5, those 3. So what would our other 2 be?
5 Scarabs.
I don't think I'd put 5 Scarabs.
5 Scarabs. 5 Scarabs is now the budget meta.
I don't know if I'd put 5 up there. I would put like a Scarab team.
5 Scarabs is the GOAT. 5 Scarabs is the GOAT of budget meta.
Secret 6.
Yep. Secret 6 is the GOAT of budget meta.
Okay.
Prove me wrong. He's cheaper than MOE chases. That whole team is cheaper than like Mephisto.
This is true. It is now. His price is dropping in half from what it used to be.
Yeah, like we want to talk about like how people want to talk about how much crazy expensive the meta is now. Just pay 5 Scarabs. Here he is right now. Buy it now, $75. 5 times 75 is $375. A commissioner's probably another 75. That's $500. And then all of the equips you need and lantern stuff, another $100. $600 team. 5 Scarabs with commissioner.
How much are Saki and Scarlet Witch going for? 200 each, or are they cheaper?
150 for 150-ish with the cloak for Saki. Scarlet Witch is pretty much 200. That's like 375, and that's only like less than half your team.
Well, I mean, if you play with Prime Spidey and like Falcon or something, it's maybe comparable to the 500 whatever team you just had.
Right, but if it goes second,
but it's hard. Yeah. Well, if it goes second, it depends on how you're building your team. That's the other point. Is most of these Prime teams are building for all aggressiveness, which is probably the right way to play it. But the counter is if you try to build it more defensive for when you don't go second. That's what I'm looking at. Is there a way to build it a little bit more defensive for that time you don't go first? Because there's options to try to do that. Yeah. But that's 4 teams. So if we're saying Scarab, maybe not just the 5 Scarab team, but like team built around maybe like barrier and like protecting Scarab and like let Scarab do Scarab things. Like Scarab should be one you're preparing for, just point blank. But that leaves us with one more, right? Because we've talked about 4 teams.
Yeah.
So what would be the last? What would be the last one?
Well, Masters of Evil. Are we talking about Masters of Evil?
Well, usually Masters of Evil usually don't go by themselves, right? Like, isn't there?
No, none of these things are by themselves either. They all have other things on the team with them.
Right.
I'm just wondering now: is the meta just as shallow as I'm thinking about? Because there's not a definite, unless I'm forgetting something. outside of those 4, like, key combinations,
So
I don't know what a 5th one was.
Like dropship animal teams, like
maybe
Sure.
animals would work as a good last team. So, like, I talked about this on the solo episode quite a bit, and I don't know if y'all listened to that or not. Keep in mind, it's about the RNG that literally makes a biggest difference when it comes to this stuff. The random matchup that you get into with who plays it makes a huge difference in your success in an event. If I had made some other decisions one way or the other in several of my games, I probably would have won a couple of state championships. And some of the precision stuff that I talked about earlier, right? Like, it took me a whole lot of these whole states to relearn some of the precision mechanics of the game. But the matchup that you go into, right? Let's just say your team is not so great against Scarab, and I don't know, what happens if your first 3 matches are against 5 Scarabs each time? I know that's a infinitesimal amount of chance, but just think about it, right?
it could happen.
The 5th one definitely is Sinisters.
Oh,
That-
Yeah, the Critmas team.
Yeah.
That's just to make
Yeah.
sure you play the star. You've got to.
Yeah, because
you're just hoping
Yeah,
for
well-
good star luck.
if you're playing the whole point of the gauntlet is, okay, how does my team fare against these 5 teams? How does it do? And those are the ones you want to think about and you can probably, the top 3 that we talked about, you could probably branch that into their own separate versions of the team, right? Like, because there's Prime Spidey versions that are unthemed, Avengers themed. There might even be a symbiote or a monster version.
I played against the Spider-Man family version is what Brody was playing.
Yeah, and then same with X-Men, right? Like, there's a couple different combinations, the double Dark Phoenix, or like you said, the double APOC with Carnage Silver Surfer. There's different variations of Carnage Silver Surfer with MOE. Like, there's the top 3 is kind of just a amalgamous blob that you could just kind of swap certain pieces and flip them onto. It's a very unusual one. Then you have the 2 like outliers, which is the Sinister one, and then I already forgot what our 4th one was.
And
Scarlet
Animal?
Witch, the power, animals, and then like the
Scarlet
power
Witch.
erasers, yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's like
the note I would have
Scarab. Scarab.
yeah,
Scarab was
the note I would have on the power erasers is how well does your team do with no powers?
Yeah.
So, like, you're talking about some of these top figures, right? Like, Surfer can still attack and heal. Prime Spider-Man can still make his attacks. Sky Tyrant doesn't get KO'd necessarily if he has revival tokens. Animals can still drop pogs. MOE can still swap and heal and attack. Necrosword, so huge for fighting runes. You got Scarlet Witch, she has Shape Change, she has Super Senses. For what it's worth, if it's in a rune and there's a wall nearby, which is not hard to fabricate a wall, or a terrain, Prime Spider-Man, if he rolled doubles in a rune with a Necrosword, I know I'm saying a lot of what-ifs there, but the Necrosword ruling with knockback one-shots a Scarlet Witch. And I would like to keep in mind, right, like, it's not so much, like, what's been winning overall, it's who's been winning with what. If you look at what Isaac's been winning with, Scarlet Witch, if you look at what Saul's been winning with, Scarlet Witch, she's still really huge and should be on high on your agenda of things to keep an eye out for. And in this case, Prime Spider-Man, with some doubles or his 2 attacks, gets a Scarlet Witch off the map. Because he's got a printed 4 damage. That's why it works so well inside the room.
Well, and he gets a second attack, 3rd attack, right?
No, he wouldn't be able to charge Flurry. If she was defensive runing, he'd be able to charge into the rune, make an attack, get a second token, make another attack. But if he was to roll doubles and knock her into a wall, she's one-shotted.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which he...
Why is
she one-shotted?
Yeah, go ahead and explain that.
Oh, okay. So, win.wizkids.com rules forum. Look up Necrosword Whirling. So, Necrosword says, during close attacks, damage can't be reduced by 1. Which means that knockback damage produced during the Necrosworded close attack can't be reduced below 1 either. So, your Invincible can't reduce the knockback damage.
Man, Dan, how did you know that so quickly? It's as if you asked the question.
I've asked the question. Yeah, so, I would say I have spent a ton of time trying to ask relevant questions to the win the past month. Past probably 45 days or so, I've had questions answered on Keyword, the Star Tarot card, All Black, the Necro Sword.
Scarab? Was Scarab
I had 2 questions answered for Scarab, so I think I'm up to like 5 questions on the win and prep for Nats here.
Yeah, any more questions to help Scarab get further nerfed is A-okay.
So, can we talk about the one thing that we hope gets nerfed before next week?
Yes, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. I like Jason. I love that. Let's talk about it. So I watch. So the reason I think that's so funny is I watch Good Mythical Morning with Sam most nights, and so like they're 2 buddies that have done things together for like 30 years. They're childhood friends. They have a multi-million subscriber YouTube channel, and they're like, today we're going to find out what's the best Taco Bell food. Let's talk about that. So. So anyways,
it's a good show.
Yeah,
I like it.
It is. So the one thing that the Rock has ruled for states and the HeroClix for Huntington event that is currently not errated on WizKids is the Judgment Tarot card. Alex, do you want to read what it does?
The Judgment card?
Yeah, I'm trying to not just talk continuously.
Sure, I could talk about the Judgment Tarot card. The Judgment card says when a character heals, that character's controller gains 1 mission point for each click healed.
Right. And then I'll read what Peacemaker does. Peacemaker from the BTU set 035 Rare reads, when you gain 1 or more mission points after resolutions, heal Peacemaker and a friendly character 1 click. So you ignite the healing with Peacemaker and or whatever, right? You ignite the healing on some character, support, X-Men team ability, whatever, and then that card's up, and as long as you have 20 clicks to heal on multiple characters, you win.
Yeah, and you could build a team to do this very, very quickly, 1 turn, I believe, but arguably it's gonna get worse, and like easier to do down the line, because as soon as we get Black Lanterns, where it's like, okay, I could just heal them, I don't even have to have damage figures anymore, I could just play a bunch of Black Lanterns and just roll support or whatever, right? Like just have some Scott Porter and just heal, and maybe I don't get to 20, but I heal and I have a bunch of full point Black Lanterns and I've hit a bunch of mission points,
right?
So like it's something they need to kind of nip pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think so. And keep in mind, The Rock ruled it to 3 per turn. But what figures are we healing, right? Starter Watcher, right? He can heal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who else are we healing? X-Men X of Swords, 104B. He has a trait that says free. Battle Fury. Free. If Wolverine has 1 or more action tokens, turn him to a click of your choice between 7 and 11. So turn him to click 11. Keep him on 1 action token when that card pops up. And he heals 1, 2, 3, 4. So we play 3 of those. That's 12. And then what do we say on Watcher? He can heal 6. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're playing, what, 3 Wolverines and a Watcher, and that's 17 in a turn. And what you're saying also, Daniel, tarot cards are only 1 in 4. That doesn't make sense. Or 1 in 5. Well, you play X-Men X of Swords Tarot, the figure. For all characters with this trait, when you would draw a tarot card from your deck, you may sit and draw 2 and choose one to use and put the other one at the bottom of your deck. So it becomes, at worst, turn 3.
Yep.
So, is there anything in the gauntlet you can do to prepare for this? Probably not. Just hope WizKids nerfs it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's a 1 turn, so there's not really much you could do.
Right.
Only thing I can think of is, like, not really in the gauntlet, no.
No. I mean, you play
No.
4 of those Wolverines, you know, and Peacemaker at 40, and then that Watcher, and you get your 20 clicks pretty easily. So.
Yeah, who's doing the healing again?
So Peacemaker has team player. He copies
Uh-huh.
X-Men. He copies X-Men team ability.
And you only need to heal how many times?
1 click. You just power action, and with that team with 4 Wolverines and a Watcher, when that card comes up, assuming you have time to manipulate your tokens that turn, right? So, you know, because that Wolverine is 1 or more, right? So, you know, turn 1, turn 2. If it comes up turn 1, right, you can manipulate 3 of their dials and Watcher, and then I think, because you're missing a leadership there to get the 4th one. So is there like a 40 is 270? So yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking at this at 270. Yeah, you have room for like a Green Lantern. So you could manipulate 3 of their dials and then power action heal, X-Men heal with Peacemaker, and then that gives you your 17. I don't know, how much is that Indigo? Is there anyone that heals for free? I mean, maybe they're including that on their team. I don't know.
Almost makes me wonder how much, like, it probably wouldn't be fixed if Peacemaker was fixed, but he is kind of the key cog in all of this as well.
Yeah, we're assuming we're hoping. I'm not assuming, hoping that some fix comes, because if it just turn 1, right, you just nearly instantly heal, or nearly instantly win. Especially if it comes up turn 1, you probably don't draw it turn 1 with Tarot. You probably draw it turn 2, so that you can manipulate the 1 action token, so that you can go to 3 action tokens, and then go to your 4th action token on your 4th Wolverine, and then turn them all to click 11 and have Watcher, and then power action Peacemaker, and then they all go. Brrr.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, if you just nerf the Peacemaker to just once per turn, if that's enough to, like, slow it down enough to where it's viable, but maybe probably not enough viable.
Keep in mind, those mission point teams have gotten very close with lack of interaction. They're getting closer and closer every day. The Judgment card, The Rock, put it at bay for good reason, because it's not fixed. But keep in mind, like, between Wrecker and just normally and Indigo 1, those teams are getting mission point wins without interaction at all, for the most part. By just having hardy figures, tons of barrier, yo-yoing. So we're getting closer and closer to mission point just being a regular staple of non-interaction.
Yeah, the key thing is as long as it's not a 1 or turn 2 win. Like, if it's a 3 turn win, maybe like if it's something where like I can at least try to get to you and like get through whatever you try to throw down to throw off, because it does usually mission points usually have like, okay, there's an engine that needs to run to make this work. It's not just like, oh, one figure just wins it all.
Right.
Like Peacemaker doesn't win it all. He wins it all with the Wolverines and the Watcher and whatnot. Like it's a little machine that has to work. So like mission points have a place to win. I think that's fine as long as it's not a 1 turn, 2 turn win where I don't get at least an opportunity to get over there to throw things off somehow.
Yeah. Yep, I'm with you. But just something to be aware of going through all of this. So so let's see. I'm going through our questions here real quick because we are at an hour and 10 minutes. So what are the odds of anyone beating Isaac? Illuminati asked. I don't know. Good question.
I mean, the biggest odds are, I would assume, more in the qualifiers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like keep him out of top 4 somehow, and it's like,
yeah, if somebody keeps him from qualifying for top 16, that'd be about the only chance. But I don't even know. So Forrest Paul asks, I'd be curious to see a tier list of all modern pieces, but just the S and A sections. Well, we've got all of that so far. Just look at go to our Facebook page. We've already done that. Just look
I don't know if he's thinking of like leading up to Nats and Worlds, because it's kind of like what we just talked about. Like all the pieces we talked about are probably S tier, if not A tier. Like it's
right.
I don't really know what the difference would be between S and A between most of the pieces we're talking about. Most of them are just so good. So.
I want to do one last section on rotation real quick. Alec Mooser, do we feel that Nats will be the rise of anti-meta teams like Merlin? Alex, I think you should probably play Merlin. I feel strongly about that. You should play Merlin.
Yeah, no. Maybe. The problem is like, I've built teams around him, but Mystical's really not in a great spot. If it was, like, Ruler is in an okay spot, but we have such 3 to 4 dominant pieces, like incredibly dominant pieces, that it's hard to say, okay, with Merlin, I want to be aggressive, but also play Merlin. It's harder than you expect. The best Mystical team, like we talked about, was the Sinister team, because that is, I think, a Mystical team. If not Ruler. One of those two. But yeah, I mean, he has a place. I mean, cause he could slow down Spidey. Definitely slows down Prime Spidey, because it's a free action for him to do his thing. It's a free action to give him a free action. Because it's free, if he has 2 action tokens, give him a costed action as free. Mm-hmm. And then he's already using Charge Flurry. So this guy is a hog when it comes to free actions. So Merlin does slow down Prime Spidey pretty big, especially if you're relying on the bigger map with Venom Mags and you need him to like maybe use both TKs, and he wouldn't get to use his Perplex because he eats up 3 on his own. So that's actually something to consider. I hadn't actually thought about it until just now. Because before, Merlin didn't really have a huge place because Carnage Silver Surfer does not use free actions, like at all. I don't think, because he has the hypersonic, and then his is then after resolution to make an attack. It's not for free,
right? It's
just an attack. So I had built it, and before the emergence of Prime Spider-Man, it was like, hey, Carnage is everywhere. Like he's not great for Merlin. Merlin does not affect him one bit, outside of like perplexes and free TKs. So I think Merlin could see a big splash. It's just it's really hard to fit a theme with him. So maybe on non-theme, that's
You know
your
what?
best bet.
Shout out to Daryl Wooten for getting second place in Oregon with the Mockingbird team. So it was
There we go. That's
Miss
the
Minutes with one of the Mockingbirds had the cloak, and it was one. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. So I guess it had to be a 3-turn win, and then the Human Torches, the deep cuts one, knocked her back. But I guess you had to survive turn 1 and turn 2 and then turn 3 to get the 20 points. Which is probably fine. I mean, you could probably get in there and wreck the rest of that team in 3 turns if you had a decently aggressive team. So Nick Baloo asked, how impactful or not has the lack of mandatory theme teams for states and soon to be Nats Worlds meta? I really liked playing theme. But I played theme for a very purposeful reason. And that was to make the team work, and then the swap to bring it all together. I mean, I could have played my team as is non-themed, but the fact that it worked together as theme was very nice. Very nice to put teams that weren't prepped for a big map on a small map, put teams that weren't prepped for a big map on a big map by going second, because you pretty much knew they couldn't get across the whole map. That's where I come in with that analysis point. You've got to be able to analyze their reach super quickly. But I think theme is something to consider, but in a very purposeful, meaningful way, that you're just not doing it to go first or to go to a big map. You have to think of the pluses and minuses of what happens if you don't get to do that, because that's more likely than not mistakes.
Yeah, I would piggyback off of that of now more than ever is where, well, not more than ever, but now in the new rules is probably the best time to try to be building theme, because we still have the bigger maps, like you were saying, because we're going to get to a time where there is no bigger maps, and that kind of takes away that advantage of saying, oh, I'm picking a map, but it's the bigger one to counter you. We'll eventually get to the point where, oh, I pick map, well, it's just a different configuration of a smaller map with terrain. So it's now the other added benefit, I guess, is because if you're first player, you still have to put your pieces down first. So I guess depends on what more terrain markers come out. So that way you can kind of disrupt your opponent by putting out terrain markers. Yeah. But yeah, now's probably the better time, because all the teams there's so many aggressive teams that just want to go first, but may not have perfectly built to go against the bigger maps.
Yep. What do you think, Jason?
I mean, it's perfect, and what you said, it pretty much sums it up. Being able to choose who goes first is pretty powerful.
Yep. I agree. So let's see. So Mike White asked, I want to talk a little bit about retirement. Where do we hope, not where do we think, where do you hope retirement cuts off this year? I have an answer. So I would like to see a 2-part split. I would like to see Rise and Fall be the set that goes away. So that would make, I think, Fantastic Four Empire the oldest set in Modern.
Well, Eternals technically, but yes.
Yeah, sorry, Eternals movie set, the oldest set in Modern. And with that, they get rid of all big maps. I think both of these answers are going to be. I wish all big maps would just go away this rotation. So whatever way we could actually get that would be my hope. All big maps go away. And then where the cutoff would be Eternals movie set being the oldest set in Modern, which would be Avengers Fantastic Four Empire beating the oldest main set in Modern.
Yeah, that's what I said before.
Is that where you hope? Is that where you hope or think?
That's what I'd like to see. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. What do you think,
and
Alex?
I agree about, and I said before about getting rid of the big maps. I agree with that.
Jason, and you know what? I would say that I took a little bit more measured approach than you did, but I would like to see big maps go away as well.
Yeah, I counter that. For the reason I just said, of it still gives a benefit for choosing map. Because if they try to do, I don't think they'll do that because they'd have to really split it and it'd be very confusing. Just say all big maps are gone. Well, we're still pretty limited on how many small maps we got because Rock's not pumping out a ton of small maps yet. They've got some, but the one everyone's playing is not WizKids Legal and should not be WizKids Legal. So I don't feel like there's enough small maps for them to be like, yeah, we feel comfortable doing that. Because there's like 10, maybe a little bit more than that. I hope Empire goes. And that's me coming as an Empire swap guy that does not want to see Captain America go. But man, I want Venom Magneto to go. I think he's just been... I've preached this, that he is arguably one of the most powerful figures in the meta, but no one thinks of him as the most powerful because he's a 35-point TK piece.
He's our best friend, Alex.
Yeah, no, please. Do away with him, and let's let people figure out how to get across a big map like a big boy, and not have to rely on Venom Magneto, 35 points to just move everybody over on his own. Like, have to spend more points for Polaris or something, please. So yeah, get rid of Empire. It's seen its day. Magneto has gone through enough worlds at this point. So
here's where I think. Now it was hope. Now where's my guess? My guess is X-Men X of Swords will be the oldest set in Modern come October of this year.
Ouch.
I think there's a realistic chance it's just Rise and Fall's the oldest one, like you said. I think that's realistic. I know there's probably whispers of like, oh yeah, they're gonna go through Disney Plus, but at the same time, we're about to get another Disney Plus. Wasn't there another Disney Plus set coming at some point?
Disney Plus is only just now a year old, basically.
Yeah, I think the argument of they'll have seen 2 worlds at this point. Well, they've moved the date for that, so you're gonna have some that are gonna see 3 worlds. Like that's like unless they get rid of X of Swords, which would be horrendous to say, oh, we've got tarot cards for 1 year, all the tarot cards for 1 year, and then it's over. They're not doing that. So X of Swords is going to see 3 worlds, right? Like that should happen last year, this year, and the next year. So I don't see the reason. If the argument is to get rid of Saki and Scarlet Witch, everyone will be probably really, really missing Scarlet Witch come rotation when we don't have the Necro Sword to get through all this.
You know what? That was one of the questions. What becomes really good in our proposed post-retirement world? Spider-Man. He gets really fucking good, Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have power, if they do get rid of the power erasers, and we're left with like Cosmo or something, like that's argue what you will about how strong they are. They are incredibly strong, but sometimes they're needed for certain pieces. Sometimes it's a good balance because we're at the point with her now. She's pretty easy to kill, so it's not I'm going to put her up there and I win. It's I got to strategically place her, or she's just going to die. You have to build around that. So I'm okay with her sticking around for 1 more year. I'm okay if Saki somehow goes though, but I know that.
Oh come on!
That won't
come
happen.
Come on.
Saki doesn't take all your powers away.
But I will say, listen, we haven't seen what the rest of Notorious is, but already thinking of the shenanigans you could pull with Black Lanterns. I'm worried about Black Lanterns going forward, so you want to know what's coming in Modern after rotation. Once Notorious hits, it's going to be Black Lantern City.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
going to be a lot of healing, a lot of figures going to top dial, and they could be garbage.
Will it, or is everybody going to just forget about them until we start playing again and 3 other sets have come out? And then...
Oh no, the people will still play it. I mean,
No, we're yeah. Jason's right. After Worlds, right? There's no WKOs. There's no states. Nobody's going to be playing Black Lanterns because there's not going to be anywhere to play them.
Yeah, and by the time they actually get around to playing again, there'll be 3 sets out probably, and then who knows what's going on?
Yeah, I mean at this rate, right? Like, Jason, do you want to get on the soapbox with me for a second?
Sure, let's
step up there. Clip, clop, clop, clop.
where you
yeah.
guys going?
Where we're going? Yeah, hey.
Hey guys, wait.
So
Okay.
yeah, after Worlds, right? There's currently nothing planned until HeroClix for Huntington's event in May next year.
It's what I call the void.
Except the void is fucking enormous now.
It's goddamn. It's goddamn half the year.
Yeah, yeah. The season is May to September.
Well, no.
What?
And I know, I know. And God bless David Newmark for doing his thing in the middle of winter, but ain't everybody going to Florida.
I mean, there was a lot of people that went last time. I mean,
There is, but 70 people is not a nationwide WKO circuit. Yeah, and yes,
Yeah.
You're right. I will take a moment again. David Newmark just announced that where his hotel's going to be, what the dates are. When there's a hotel link signing up, you can book flights already. David Newmark is the GOAT of announcing events way in advance. So Sam and I are planning on going to Florida. It is the winter event to have at this point. But like Jason said, it is not a nationwide circuit of events like states or WKOs would be. It
We
is
need multiple events.
Yeah,
right, but I compare it to like the HeroClix for Huntington's, like just a step down from that because of obviously it's a charity event for HeroClix for Huntington's, but like I consider it in that range of it's a good, it's not kicking off any seasons, but it's a good stabilizer of, hey, Worlds is over.
Well, so like
I can start preparing for that.
We plan on like having the Clixed Off Classic this year. We're going to talk about it after we get back from Gen Con. But like that's a local event. That's a regional event. That's going to have 25 people, 30 people maybe if we're lucky. Newmark's event had maybe 50 this year. I don't know, maybe 60.
Sure, but this was the second year. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah,
and it was expensive. Like,
yeah, it was. Going to Florida is expensive.
Yes, very.
So keep in mind, right? Like that's not 50 WKOs, 50 state events. That's
also not It's not WizKids doing it themselves. We need WizKids to participate.
We need WizKids to participate because it comes down to pricing. Like Newmark's going to have $1,000, right? He posted.
Yeah,
fantastic,
that's
awesome. That's amazing. I cannot give him enough props. But there is something we play a collectible game, and this is where folks inherently are missing out on some of this stuff, like misreading or not being able to read the ebb and flow of the community. We play a collectible game. Do you know what we want more than money? A shiny little figure that nobody else has yet.
Tough.
Convention exclusives. Remember how awesome it was to go get Lockjaws? To go get Deadpool the Ducks? To go get the tank when it was new?
the tank was purchasable, but...
Yeah, but you had to go to a WKO to purchase it.
Okay,
No. That wasn't
Grandpa,
right.
stop talking about WKOs. It's been forever, Grandpa.
No, Alex.
Hey, that don't mean we shouldn't have them.
Yeah, Alex, we're not going to give up with. We're not going to give up with. I understand it's the current state of the world, and we got to move on and figure out how to make it better. Which we do in that, right? We're going to have the Clixed Off Classic. We're going to support Florida. We're going to support HeroClix for Huntington's.
Make winter great again.
Make winter great again. Fall WKOs, winter WKOs.
Yeah.
Two rounds of states a year again. Let's play HeroClix with good prizing at a worldwide level. WKOs were worldwide. I know we keep mentioning states, but states, provincials, whatever they're called in Mexico and Australia and the Philippines and wherever else they were internationally. Obviously Canada, I mentioned provinces. So all those states, all those WKOs, right? We need those 50 events again.
Sure.
So
I think what we have this year is probably what it's gonna be, though, right? Now, what did Howard say at some point he was gonna do 2 rounds of states, or did I dream that at some point?
No, I think it did get mentioned at one point, but
Like a fall winter states or something, because we have to basically, in my head, equivalent that WKO and states are now synonymous, because states prizing is effectively just WizKids. I know it's not the Con LEs or whatever, but like Howard's not putting together those factory sets by his lonesome and buying out like individual collections to put together a factory set.
No.
Clearly, WizKids has partnered with him to do this.
And we're not, again, I'm not complaining. I don't want to think that any of this is a complaint. Because it's not a complaint for what we have at all. Howard, WizKids, thank you for all of the factory sets that you got out there for states this year. Jason, agreed?
Yep. Agreed. Very much so.
Thank you.
It was pretty awesome. You got everybody out. Everybody got everybody out. And
Guess what? We want to do that more. We want to do that more.
And there's things happening.
Yeah.
Like, we're not just like talking about what's good. We're actually seeing what's good.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's do it again after Worlds. October, November, states, WKOs.
Let's not condense it into like 4 months.
That's right.
Yeah, WizKids, just pace yourself a little better there, buddy. Because I was one of the believers of the prizing at Worlds is what it is, because they spent a lot of prizing for states. So it's like, well, crap, guys, we ran out of factory sets.
Well, then that's poor planning. But
well, yeah, it is. But it's also like, it's not. They don't have good foresight.
Like I said, poor planning.
Right. I don't know if they just didn't plan for states or what, and they just gave everything to states because they ran out of Batman. Like, that's probably one of the reasons we're not getting like the Batman factory set, like for Pulp or whatever. It's like, well, they probably ran out because wasn't that the prizing for states?
Yes.
And they ran out for states at some point.
He had to give some back. He had to give some of them back, I think.
Yeah,
he mentioned that on the live stream. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, that's probably because they did not plan well. So I'm okay with what you guys are saying. Do more of that, but let's make sure WizKids plans fine with it. I don't want Nats and Worlds or anything like that to suffer because of poor like they're going to poor plan either way. But just play it safe, WizKids. Like,
no.
Buy extra. Buy extra.
Do not play it safe. Order more factory sets. Design and produce new Con LEs. Take a chance on the community to get back to where it was pre-pandemic.
And I think we showed out, and we showed that, and we're going to show it at Nationals, and we're going to show it at Gen Con. So I think that's the key thing is, like, we have to keep showing up. Despite the frustrations we had with Worlds initially, they did fix a lot of it. Sure, we want more. We're always going to want more.
Definitely a step in the right direction.
Right. So we need to make sure we show support and we keep going, because this is what they were hesitant on is the community coming back. And we're showing, well, yeah, we're still here in Hungary. We lost some people along the way, but there's still more than enough of us.
Here's what I want to see. Holt WKOs.
Maybe we need a different turn than WKOs. Like,
Whatever. I want to see.
What? No. We don't.
Widespread
No, what?
Pulp tournaments.
I want whatever the term is for delivery of new convention exclusive winnable figures or something better via WizKids.
yeah, that's fair.
So whatever you want to call it. So all right. So Jason, you mentioned Pulp. William K. Holland asked about Pulp. There's the couple of big Pulp results tournaments on hcunits.net. We've got to finish our Pulp tier maker. I don't know if we're going to get to that before Worlds.
Yeah, because we're a week away. Less than a week away.
Less than a week away.
Before Gen Con.
Before Gen
Yeah,
Con, yeah.
Sorry, you're right for Nats. So I don't know if we'll have time to really do another episode before Nats. We could maybe do one.
We could just talk about the good stuff. Like, let's say this. We could take Fort's idea and just talk about the S and the A tier stuff, but just do it for Pulp.
Yeah. We could do that. I'm okay with talking about that with y'all before in another episode. Just a quick.
And that just condenses down a bunch of our time, and talks about the stuff that's meaningful.
The meaningful stuff from each set for Pulp, not going over every figure.
Exactly.
And not going
since we're short
maybe,
on time.
maybe, not maybe, but not today probably.
Not today, but
before Gen Con.
Maybe so. We'll try.
We'll do our best. All right. Final thoughts. Jason, lead us out.
I hope to see everybody at Gen Con and have a great time. Good luck at Nationals. Good luck in the Pulp and the Theme events. Oh no, that's about all I got. Prime Spider-Man's great. Woo. Yeah.
Alex?
Yeah, I can't wait to go to Gen Con. It's going to be a fun time. Can't wait to see people. If you haven't looked at the map, WizKids we're not in the corner this year. We're kind of in the middle of the middle-ish area of the event section.
Closer to food.
Yes, closer to the hallway too, so we can just exit pretty quickly.
And closer to bathrooms.
Yeah.
So
it'll be a good time. Though the HeroClix, the WizKids booth, like the trading booth, is further away, so it might be equal distance between the booth and the event tables. But the event tables, I think, is in a much better spot. So.
Yep. So my final thoughts. So we didn't answer Peter Marshall's questions completely. Read with a little humor. How many trips is the correct number of trips to the bathroom during an event? Stay hydrated at Gen Con, folks. There's always a good thing to tell if you're hydrated is to look at the color of your pee. If it's too dark a yellow, you're not hydrated. And keep in mind your body can only absorb about 8 ounces of water, I think, every 30 minutes or so. But the Gen Con Hall, the air is dry. You're going to be doing a lot of talking. You're going to be doing a lot of walking. Stay hydrated. So if you need to make more trips to the bathroom, that's fine. If y'all don't know, I usually take a lot of trips to the bathroom during an event because I'm drinking a lot of water. Secondly...
Just be sure to know how to hold your breath when you're going into those bathrooms. So
yeah, that's right. A lot of doo-doo. And then additionally, folks, I am looking forward to seeing everyone at Gen Con. Keep in mind, I say this before every major event. There's a lot of y'all. There's only one of us, or individually, right? There's only 3 of us here. Sam's coming along too, and a couple other team members. Please feel free to introduce yourself. Keep in mind, a lot of y'all out there in, Clixed Off listener land, y'all don't have Facebook profile pictures. You don't go by your name on Facebook. So sometimes I'm like, oh, that's, Optimus Prime, the Cubs baseball player. So...
please come say hi. I love meeting people.
Don't let that deter you from saying hi. So please don't be deterred if I think, oh, you're Optimus Prime because that's what you look like on Facebook and that's what I talk to you as. So please come up and say hi.
I would love to look like Optimus Prime. That'd be great.
Yeah, exactly. Again, don't let that deter you from coming up and say hi. We love to meet all of our listeners and fans, and hope to see y'all at Gen Con and pulp. Jason, Alex, we need to make a concentrated effort to do that S and A tier thing for pulp.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Thanks everybody for listening to Clixed Off today. We'll talk to y'all next time.
Later.
See you.